yes, welcome back to another episode of a Stonewall's Perspective podcast. I'm your host, Alexander Stone. I'm on a mission to spread the light of the gospel into every aspect of life. And yes, I did say every, including the things that people do not like to talk about, such as politics. Yesterday, I talked about on my show about why Christians should get involved in politics. And the answer to that is because people who are not righteous have taken the place of where righteous people should be. Righteous people should be in office. Godly people should be in office. Yet Christians have backed away. And they've said, I don't want to get involved because political things are controversial. And pastors have not gotten involved because it's controversial. But whenever there are righteous people, whenever there are godly people in office, there are godly outcomes. There are righteous outcomes. In today's episode, I want to talk about something a little bit different, about why people who are younger should get involved. I'm 18 years old. I've been doing my podcast consistently since I was 16 years old and maybe even 15. But I started when I was 15, and it's been a great, amazing journey, and I love doing what I'm doing. And I just want to encourage other people to do the same thing, to get involved and to start to speak up and to wake up and to speak up and to show up, as flyover conservatives say all the time, because it's super important. And what we have seen over the past few years especially is that the people who are on the left, who are more liberal leaning, have really made an appeal to young people by the way that they say things and the way that they do things. And my encouragement to anyone who's listening to this is to start to really focus on what is going on in the world today and what we can do about it. And people on the left are getting involved. There was just the first ever Generation Z, I believe, or millennial, who was just elected into office. He's going to be a congressman in about 11 days. And he's someone who's around my age, who's around 18, 19. He's about 20 in his 20s. And I talked about this on my episode that I did with Clay Clark on his show, Thrive Time Show. You can go find it at Rumble. I'll link it in the description below. But it is super important for people who are my age to get involved. I just recently signed on to a deal with the Zelenko Freedom Foundation, and I'm their first official Zelenko Fellow. And so what that means is I'm getting more involved than I'm already doing, okay? And the reason why is because I love this country, first of all, and I love God, second of all. I'll switch those things. I love God, first of all, and I love Jesus, first of all, and I love this country, second of all. And my values and the Christian values that I believe in are worth fighting for. And I believe every single person who is my age should really get active and to start getting involved in their local communities and start helping people and serving people, and to be a living proof of a loving God to a watching world, because the world is watching. The world is indeed watching the way that we think, not the way that we think, but the things that we say, the things that we do. And so what are we going to do about the things that have come up recently in today's generation, in today's day and age? What are we going to do about it? Are we just going to sit back on the sidelines, or are we going to get onto the battlefield? Are we going to get involved? Are we going to start speaking up and standing up for the things that truly matter? I believe that there is a calling, a very, very strong calling on people who are around my age. And it has been for a very, very, very long time. I just talked about this on my show with Clay Clark, that the founding fathers of the United States of America, they weren't in their 60s, 70s. And sure, Benjamin Franklin was about 70 years old, but most of the founding fathers were anywhere from 18 to 30, maybe 35 even. But they were young people, and they got involved. And the reason why we have our country today is because young people got involved. Another example, and it's a biblical example, is David. David was the youngest of his brothers, yet he was anointed to be the king. And he was one of the greatest men, one of the godliest men of all time. And he is the only person, to my knowledge, who is called a man after God's own heart. That's how anointed David was, that he was a young man, and that he was after God's own heart, and God anointed him for that. What are we going to do today, in today's day and age, in today's generation of young people? What are we going to do to really just speak out about the truth? And there are a few movements that I've been able to see which have really encouraged and impacted people who are about 18 to 25, and maybe some younger, but Turning Point USA, I was just at America Fest in Phoenix, Arizona, and it was an amazing event with amazing energy. There were about 1,000, maybe even more people who love God, who love our country, who went to go to that event to really learn how to get involved and to speak up and to stand up and to really show up when it matters. So America Fest and Turning Point USA, and Charlie Kirk is doing a phenomenal job at helping people get involved in that. And I'm just gonna take a break real quick from me talking, and I'm just gonna give you a little clip of when I was on the news on Real America's Voice on the Charlie Kirk Show in just a couple seconds. But I made an appearance on there, so check this out real quick.
What about you, sir?
I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. I want to see people reawakened to truth, reawakened to who God is, and reawakened to what this country means. And what we need to do is get involved, and Charlie's doing a great job of helping us do that. And we are back. So that was super cool. That was a super cool thing that I got to do on Charlie Kirk's show, which was really just give a couple seconds of why I liked being at that event and what I wanted to see from that event. And I really did see that event at the event. It was phenomenal. It was beautiful. And one of the most important things that I saw, and I'd say it is the most important thing that I saw at America Fest, was the night of worship, and it was beautiful. There were over 1,000 people packed into an auditorium, and they were worshiping Jesus. There were other events that some people went to, held by James O'Keefe from Project Veritas, and some people went there. But most of the people stayed at the Phoenix venue to worship Jesus, to serve God, and to really draw closer to Jesus. That's exactly what every single listener who is listening to this right now should do. Draw closer to Jesus. And do it through worship, do it through prayer, do it through reading scripture. And that will change everything about your life. That's the main focus of my show, is so that people's lives can be changed, so that people can go and spread the light of the gospel in every aspect of life. That's exactly what I want for this show. And it's been a phenomenal job and a phenomenal time being able to do that, and to really grow closer to Jesus and who he is, and the reality of his character. And it's been really changing my life and changing my podcast as I draw closer to Jesus, and it's so phenomenal. So there was worship at that, and I'm gonna show you a little bit of a clip that I got to take a video of from that night of worship. So check this out real quick. And we are back, and that was a beautiful time. I got to pray for some people in the midst of it. It was a beautiful moment where people were just surrendering to Jesus, and I got to pray for people, got to pray for me, and it was phenomenal. So the number one thing that I want anyone to do who is my age or even older is to draw closer to Jesus. And when you draw closer to Jesus, that will change everything about your life. And then once you draw closer to Jesus, start to realize the call that God has on your life. And I'm talking especially to people who are my age. And I've seen this time and time again, that people my age will start to get involved. I have many friends in this movement that I've become friends with, and they are getting involved. One of the people that I got to meet, his name is Brylan Hollyhand. He started a conservative news organization called the Truth Gazette, and that's phenomenal. He talks about God, he talks about politics. Another one, Caroline Smith, who's been on this show before, she's the host of the Patriot Talk, and she talks to politicians, but she also talks to worship leaders. Sean Foyt from Let Us Worship, who's gone all around the United States, really just demanding that the United States and the people in each of the different states lets us worship because of the tyrannical COVID nonsense that happened in 2020, and that was beautiful. Another one, there's a movement called that I've become friends with from Anna Kate, who's also been on my show, and she's like a big sister to me, but one of the people that's involved with this, it's called Stand for Righteousness, and they're doing a thing every week where it's young Christians come on that show and just talk about Jesus. And it's phenomenal, and it's moving around the place. And then another one that I'm not directly involved with, but I've been paying attention, is Gen Z for Jesus. And that's a phenomenal movement. So these are just some movements and some people who I've been able to align myself with and see what is going on in those movements and see how Jesus is working through them because people have gotten involved. And so my biggest encouragement is to follow Jesus and then go do what he's calling you to do. And it's going to look different for everybody. It's going to look different for you, and it's going to look different for you, and it's going to look different for you, and it's going to look different for everybody. But get involved, whether it be God calling you to start a podcast and do what I'm doing, or start a YouTube channel or a Rumble channel or whatever, or get active on social media and start talking about Jesus or start talking about politics. Maybe your thing is to run for politics when you become old enough. And so what you need to do now is start to gain a following and start to get involved in your local level so you can gain that, get that traction so that you can win your election. Or maybe it's something else. It looks different for everybody. But when you get involved and you start to speak for your values, it will change people. And like I said, there is an anointing on this generation. I believe that with my whole heart. That there is a succession plan, and that is us. That is people my age, 18 to 25, and even younger, and even a little bit older as well. There is a succession plan, as my friend Doug Billings says to me all the time, and I'm one of those people, and you can be too. So I encourage everyone who's listening to this, no matter your age, get involved. Get involved spiritually, get involved in your church, go serve in your local community, go serve in your church, go run for office when you're old enough, go start a podcast, go do this, that, or the other, because it truly matters when young people start to get involved at a level where people's lives will be impacted. It really does. And I've been able to see the impact that people, that this podcast has had on other people. There have been friends of mine and even not friends of mine who have reached out and been, wow, that's amazing, and they've been encouraged. And so my encouragement to you right now in this episode is do something. What will you do? I don't know. What will you do? Maybe you don't even know. Maybe it will take some prayer. But the number one thing that I want you to do is take the words that I'm saying and be encouraged by them, so you can go make a difference in the lives of those around you. And man, that is the most beautiful thing. The most beautiful thing that you could ever do. Guys, if you go to mypillow.com/Stonewall, that is mypillow.com/Stonewall, you can get a discount of up to 66% off of your order. mypillow.com, use promo code Stonewall, STONEWALL. Don't use the promo code Stone. I mean, if you want to, you can. That supports Roger Stone, another person in the movement that I'm in. But promo code Stonewall, that helps me out, that helps Mike Lindell out as well. So mypillow.com/Stonewall, you can get a discount of up to 66% off of your order. Guys, thank you so much for listening. God bless you all. Share this podcast with 5 people. I love you all. Goodbye.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and my employees and I want to thank each and every one of you for your support by bringing you the MyPillow that started it all. MyPillow's patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs regardless of your sleep position. Because it works, we've sold over 70 million My Pillows, and now I'm bringing it to you for the lowest price ever. For example, you get my standard My Pillow, now only $19.88 with your promo code. Now's the time to get them for your friends, your family, your neighbors, everyone you know. My Pillows make the best gifts ever. In the times we're in, one thing we all need is getting a great night's sleep. So go to mypillow.com or call that number on your screen now. Use your promo code and you'll get my standard My Pillow for only $19.88. For a more custom fit, my Premium Queen, only $24.98. Or my Premium King, only $29.98. This is a limited time offer, so order now.